Alright, welcome back. We're going to do the inside of Unit 1828. There's also Unit 1850 that is identical to this. So if you do have 1850, this video will pertain to it also because it's the same thing inside. So first we're going to talk about is on this wall right here. We've got a couple of switches here. We've got this battery selector switch. This is also called the battery disconnect. When you have the RV and you have all the batteries turned on, you would have it in this position here. If you want to shut off the power, you would switch it up to off, and then it kills all the 12-volt power inside of there. Also, you have a switch over here, which is a light that turns on the interior lights on the roof, and then you have an outside porch light switch, and then you also have a power awning, and you basically push the button, and that puts the awning out, and then you push the button where it says retract awning, and it brings the awning back in. Okay? If you do have the awning out, you don't want to go off and leave the awning out while you're out sightseeing, or if it's raining. Always put that up because they can get damaged real easily by the wind. So let's go inside here and take a look at some more things here. Okay, the first thing we're going to talk about over here is your refrigerator. The refrigerator works on electric or propane, and if you see here it says auto, off, and gas. Just leave it on automatic, and it's at the coldest setting. The way these refrigerators work, it takes about 5 to 6 hours for it to get to its maximum operating temperature, and it starts from the freezer down. So if you just turn it on and you come back an hour or two later and you put your hand down here in the refrigerator and it's not cold, you're thinking, hey, what's wrong? Actually, it starts from the top down, so touch the freezer floor and then you'd see it's getting cold, and that lets you know the refrigerator is working. So like I said, leave it on automatic and it automatically knows what to do. It'll go from propane to electricity and back and forth based on what you have going. Also, this model has a couple of bunk beds here. As you can see here, each bunk bed has its own TV-DVD combination. They're rated for 220 pounds as the maximum allowable weight here. Back here, you have another TV on the wall here, and it also has a DVD player mounted on the top here. Of course, these TVs have to have 110 power, electricity, in order to make them work, okay? And then you have some storage and drawers and different things around there. This back window is your emergency exit. Basically, you grab the two red handles at the bottom on each side of the window and open them, and then the window swings open, and that's how you would exit the RV if you had to get out in a hurry. You got this door here that closes off for privacy, and then over here on the wall you got your thermostat. And the way this thing works, you push it and you move it like that. If you want just some fan to blow some fresh air around, you put it on fan. If you want the air conditioning to come on, you put it on the air conditioning or cool. And if you want it to heat, you turn to furnace, and then you just adjust the temperature based on how warm you want it to be inside. And to shut it off, you push it one more time to the off position, and then it'll shut off the system. That's how the thermostat works in here. Okay. Over here you got these vents on the ceilings. Those are your air conditioning vents. And down on the bottom down there, on that wall there, the black ones, you have the vent for the furnace. Over here, to the left side over here, you see this black box here. This is your breaker box. And inside of there, you got all your breakers and then your fuses and so forth in there, okay? Over here, you have a propane detector. And the propane detector sniffs out the propane. We talked about that outside. That propane smells like rotten eggs. Well, that's what this thing will do. It'll detect those different smells. If you spray Lysol or something really strong here, that thing may go off. And if it does, you basically have to just go over here and push hold reset and reset it. Another reason that this will go off is if the battery, the house battery, if the house batteries are starting to get low, this is going to start beeping at you to tell you that the battery's going and this is no longer going to work. So keep that in mind if that should start happening and you know you don't have any sense of any different kind inside the RV. In the bathroom here, you got a couple of different things here. Of course, you've got your faucet, you know, just like in your house. Left's hot and right's cold. And you should have 4 rolls of toilet tissue and 2 bottles of chemicals. And you only want to use the tissue that we provide, or RV tissue. And on this toilet has a foot pedal. When you step on the pedal a little bit, that puts water in the bowl. And you always want to put water in the bowl before you use the toilet. Then when you step all the way, that actually flushes the toilet, okay? And then over here on the shower, it's just like you shower at home. You know, left is hot and right's cold, and you got your handheld deal, and this swings out here, and it gives you a little bit more space out here to put the shower curtain around, okay? And that's how that would work here. All right. All right, let's talk about your monitor panel. This is kind of like the brains of the RV up here. At your monitor panel, you have several different things. You got the buttons that bring the slide out rooms in and out. Before you bring a room out, make sure that there's nothing outside, of course, that you're going to hit when the room comes out. And make sure there's nothing in between the wall that could get stuck between the wall and the slide out when you bring it out that would keep the room from coming out. And the last thing is, don't have anyone sitting on the sofa or anywhere where the room is coming out, because it's already enough weight as it is, and that's a lot of stress you're putting on that motor. So back up here to this panel again, you got your tank heater. That basically heats up your tanks if you're somewhere really cold, and this is a manual override for the slide out. And we talked about the slide out 1, slide out 2, in and out. And then over here you've got your water pump switch. When you don't have a water hose hooked up to the motorhome, you will have to turn on your water pump switch to get the water to the toilet, to the sink, and so forth. And then a water heater switch right over there. You turn it on and that heats up your water. You got a whole 6 gallons of hot water. When you turn it on, it takes about 20 to 25 minutes before you have hot water. Okay? Then you got this button that says prime and then start. That is basically for the generator. Before you start the generator, you want to prime it, or you can either just use this button and hold stop like that. And then when that lights up, that means it just shot gas down into the carburetor, and then you push start. And then that starts up your generator. Okay, so when the generator starts, like I said earlier, it's about a 15-second delay before you have electricity inside the RV, providing you plug that power cord back into that outlet outside. Okay, so that runs your generator, and you have an hours counter here, and it basically just shows us how many hours the generator has been run. Okay, and then over here you got your different panels. So you got propane, you push it, and it shows from empty to full. So you got, you know, almost a full tank of propane. Your battery is fully charged, your fresh water is full, and then, you know, then it talks about the black tank rather, and then the gray tank. And that just shows that that's how your tanks work, okay? As they fill up, then you know it's time for you to consider dumping your tanks. Over here is pretty self-explanatory. You got outlets on the wall here. Once again, hot and cold. Pump has to be on to make that work, or you have to have the water hose hooked up to the side. And then on the stove here, the stove, basically, you would decide which eye you want to light, and then you hit the igniter, and that lights the stove for you, okay? If for some reason the igniter didn't work, you can always use a match and light the stove, okay? Microwave's pretty self-explanatory here. When you see the lights lit up, that tells you that you've got electricity. And this is always my indicator that I know that when I turn on the generator, and I don't have electricity plugged up outside, and when I see this lit up, that's telling me that I do have electricity inside the coach, okay? Then over here, you've got storage compartments all around here. You've got another emergency exit over here. That window there, it slides out, you can climb out. And then this sofa will make into a sleeper. Basically, you grab the bottom, you pull it, and it lays flat like a futon bed. That's how that works. To put it away, you grab the back of it, and you just pop it back into place. Also, you've got a big double sleeper up here. And you see I've already set this up here, and you got your ladder where you can climb up there. Now this center cushion does come out of the way, so you're not having to duck under it each time, but I put it in place so you can see how this works. In case you're wondering what this is here, this is for little kids and to keep them from falling out of bed. So you would hook this up into place like so, and then that'll keep them from rolling out of the bed. Or if you got adults that like to roll out of bed, that'll stop them from rolling as well. Over here on your TV, once again you got to have electricity. You see the 2 knobs on the arm there. You have to loosen those knobs, and then the TV will pivot this way or pivot back. So that's how you'd move that TV. Going down the road, you will not be able to pick up any TV reception, but you can always watch movies. There is a TV antenna here, and this is your TV antenna, and the way you crank this up, you basically turn it, and I would suggest that holding this way, hold it in the middle, and that way you don't break off this handle, because they're plastic and they get broken a lot. So if you don't want to have to get another antenna when you get back another antenna handle, crank it the way I'm doing it. So you crank this thing all the way up, and once it stops cranking, it's fully extended, and it kind of looks almost like a timeout symbol, and it sits almost 4 feet high off the roof. So these things get damaged often because people tend to forget to bring them back down. If you notice these 2 arrows here, this basically is saying the antenna is sitting in the proper position because there's a little cradle that it rides in on the roof. When it's lined up like this, it's sitting in the cradle. So if you wanted to try to improve the TV reception when you're parked, you can pull down and rotate that antenna around, and maybe you can improve the reception if you're in an area where you can even get reception. But to put this away, you've got to line those two arrows back up once again, and it's lined up right under that cradle, and then you start bringing it back down. And you turn it counterclockwise to bring it back down. And you can hear it when it hits the roof. If you've got that lined up, you hear it when it comes back down on the roof. You got these crank open vents here that you crank open for fresh air. And if you do have this one open, this does have an outside cover, so you would be able to have that open if you wanted to driving down the road. This dinette will convert into a sleeper. Also, basically what you do is you would take the table and you lift it straight up off of the poles. Once you have it off the poles, you take the poles out of the floor and lay them down on the side, and then you take this table and you lay it flush in between here on this lip there. Once you have this table fitted in that spot, it's almost like a puzzle piece. Once it's sitting in there, then you lay all the cushions flat. And that's how that works. Okay? And then put it away, you do everything in reverse. Okay? You have a DVD player over here. So let me move this ladder real quick here. And this ladder is designed to be stored right here. So if you see what I'm doing here, when you're ready to go, you put this over here in place, and you put the snaps in place, and make sure it's nice and flush up against the wall. And then you can move this piece up and right out of the way, and you put it over here. So then you have easy access to get in here without having to duck up under it. So up here, you have pretty much your rear camera, your radio, CD player here. And these are all your controls for your air and your heat. And you have tilt wheel, and it's just like any other Ford truck. Everything's in here for your cruise control, and your lights. It's got power windows, power door locks, and so forth. Okay? That's pretty much it up here. There should be a privacy curtain that you would put up on the very front here to keep you from being able to look in here. So if you look at this curtain, you will see Velcro on it. And then you're going to see all these little Velcro things all around here. And you just basically, you're going to Velcro this right around in here, and then nobody can see inside the RV. Okay? And I'll put this back up here. You've got a smoke detector over here, and we talked about the propane detector down below. And that pretty much covers everything in here. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.